We are taught early on that wealth is a direct byproduct of intelligence. If you graduate from an elite university and possess a genius-level intellect, your financial future is supposedly locked in. Richard Fuscone was the living embodiment of that assumption. Armed with a Harvard education and an MBA, he ascended the ranks to become a top executive at Merrill Lynch. His career was so successful that he retired in his 40s to become a philanthropist. The former CEO of Merrill Lynch publicly praised his business savvy, leadership skills, and sound judgment. To match his massive success, he expanded his primary residence in Greenwich, Connecticut into an 18,000-square-foot estate. The property featured 11 bathrooms, 2 swimming pools, 7 garages, and 2 elevators. This chart illustrates the financial reality behind the estate. The monthly cash burn to simply maintain the home was over $90,000. To fund this expansion, he borrowed heavily, backing that debt with highly leveraged, illiquid real estate. With the best education, the highest income, and the most elite connections in the financial world, a person in this position should be mathematically immune to ruin. Hundreds of miles north of Connecticut sits the rural, quiet town of Dummerston, Vermont. The pace here is slow, and the local economy operates entirely outside the orbit of high finance. Ronald Read was born here, into a farming family. After serving in World War II, he came home and spent 25 years fixing cars and pumping gas at a local service station. When he eventually sought out a different job, he took a position as a part-time janitor at the local JCPenney, where he spent 17 years quietly sweeping floors. He lived a life of rigorous frugality. To save money on heating, he gathered downed branches and chopped his own firewood well into his 90s. He parked his used Toyota far away from his destinations to avoid paying meter fees, and friends remembered him wearing an old, tattered denim jacket held together entirely by an assortment of safety pins. For decades, he lived a completely unassuming life. Operating on modest wages and avoiding any outward displays of wealth, he represents the absolute opposite end of the economic spectrum from the Wall Street executive. In 2014, the timelines of the elite executive and the rural janitor converged in international headlines. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, it devastated asset values across the board. The market collapse completely evaporated the Wall Street titan's highly leveraged empire. Weighed down by massive debt and illiquid assets, he told a bankruptcy judge he had no income. By 2014, his beloved Greenwich mansion was sold in a foreclosure auction for 75% less than its estimated value. That exact same year, the 92-year-old retired janitor passed away at a local hospital in Brattleboro. When his attorney revealed the contents of his estate, it sent a shockwave through the small community. The safety pin-wearing janitor possessed a net worth of nearly $8 million. While the financial expert had lost his entire fortune, the janitor left $2 million to his stepchildren and $6 million to the local hospital and library. Those who knew him were completely baffled, but there was no secret inheritance, no lottery win, and no insider trading. This animation reveals his secret. He invested tiny savings into dividend-paying companies, holding them through decades of recessions. Allowing an asset to grow uninterrupted requires an absence of ego. It demands living below your means, contrasting directly with the executive's high-leverage spending. In almost no other field can an untrained amateur with no connections massively outperform someone with the best education and training in the world. It proves that wealth is not a measure of how smart you are, but entirely a measure of how patiently you behave.